Shaq recently made the news because I don't know if it was a talk show or just a tweet or something, but he was basically like, my kids are older now, and they get mad at me when I tell them I'm rich, you're not rich. Like you have to make your own. Like you got to get out of the mud, basically.
My kids are older now, and they're kind of upset with me. Not really upset, but they don't understand. Because I tell them all the time, we ain't rich. I'm rich. Yeah, we don't. No, you got to have bachelors or masters, and then if you want me to invest in one of your companies, you're gonna have to present it. Boom, boom, boom. Bring it to me. I'll let you know. I'm not giving you nothing. The girls, I'll take care of the girl, but my boys, oh, they're not getting nothing.
And I feel like, especially as black people, that message can be conflicting to some because a lot of us are trying to build generational wealth. You know, do what a lot of other ethnicities do, which is help their kids start up here instead of down here, right? And giving them a hand up, right? But then on the flip side, we've also seen a lot of other, ethnicities that have had a good financial background and they've been able to build certain things, and their kids, they don't have any type of hunger, grind. They're spoiled, and they ruin it. Everything that the grandparents built, they don't have the grit to do it, right? Because they didn't grow up with that mentality that you got to earn it. So, like, are you clocked in on Shaq? What he's saying, or are you clocked out?
I'm with him.
Okay,
yeah, I'm with him because you gotta fight to get it, fight to keep it, and fight to grow it. And if you don't know how to fight, then you ain't gonna be able to do none of it. You know what I mean?
It's deep.
Period. So if you can't fight to get it, then you ain't gonna keep it or grow it. Hey, Dad, let me get $100,000 for this business loan. Boom, you got it. Where was the fight? Where was the struggle? Where was the skin of the game? Where was the I need to make this work because I ain't got no other chance? Because that produces light. That produces like fire for you to go out there and get it. Like, if your back is against the wall, this has got to work. And even if it doesn't, you tried so hard that what was successful was the lessons that you learned for you to prevail in another venture.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you just taking out hundreds, you know what I mean? I don't even want to get it like that.
So what about this? Because there's a guy, I don't know if you follow like Eric Thomas, motivational speaker. He has.
You gotta refresh my memory.
If you heard his stuff, you would
the football player?
Nah, that's the guy that was homeless and he became the number one motivational speaker in the world.
Yeah,
I might have heard him.
So there's a guy
You've seen him or heard him before.
Yeah, you've definitely come across this stuff at some point.
He said, when you want it as bad as you want to breathe.
Yeah, yelling all the time.
Yeah, yelling.
He be yelling.
This is one of the ones I know you heard it, the one where he's like, when you want it as bad as you, if I took you and I held your hand under the water, you want to get up, you be fighting to come up, right? Because you want it as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you'll be successful. You gotta want it just like you want air, but someone's holding you underwater. That's when you want. That's his favorite story.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of my favorite guys to listen to. One of his business partners or proteges, this guy named Jamal King, like real estate empire. He's like a lot of businesses, serial entrepreneur, and he said that his kids are taken care of, but he has a certain amount of money that when his kids get to a certain age, they have to present to him a business plan or what they're going to do with the money. So he's not just giving them the money, but he's like, look, you have capital already saved up for you. Now you need to present the plan to me of how you're going to use it, because if you don't have a plan or I don't like the plan, you're not getting money. So how do you feel about that?
That's kind of like where I'm at with it, because I don't agree with Shaq with saying like you're broke, I'm rich. I think that it comes down to parenting. Not that I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to parenting. How you want to instill those things in your kids. The way you want to instill that kind of like, the throwing them off the cliff and making them climb themselves up. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody got a different way to like get that grit, get that fight, and get that to get that particular skill of survival into your kid. You know what I'm saying? I think that part of parenting is as a parent, is you supposed to be in the way of adult things for your child for as long as possible. You try to shield your child from adult things, be it emotions or situations or responsibilities. You try to shield them from adult things for as long as possible. I think part of that is the struggle of finance, right? I don't want my daughter to be having to work a job for somebody because she has to get money to pay rent. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather her have a business plan, come to me, and then we tap into this money that I saved for her, so she don't have to work for nobody. She can go and start her own business, so she can travel for a year. Like, I want to afford the opportunities for life, because it's not all about working and making bread, right? It's about living. It's about experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to afford my child opportunities for life that I didn't have. Now, if she's a spoiled brat, ungrateful, it comes out of parenting. You feel me? But
Yeah.
I don't think that, as Black people, I don't think we are as supportive of our youth as other cultures are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll see, even Haitians, but you'll see like Hispanic or Asian families take in their adult daughters or son who live with them until they're f***ing married. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and even when they're married, sometimes they'll all live together and raise their kids there for a while until they all financially get to their place where they can get their own place. And hell, grandma might move in later instead of getting daycare. You got grandma watching the kids while you go doing your thing. Or grandpa, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the culture is kind of set up to support each other and build up, where it's not all about you got to fend for yourself. I really don't like the idea. Again, I think parenting, for me, and it's like a new establishment for me, it's like you were supposed to shield your kid from as much adult things in this world as possible for as long as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because even when you older, my dad still hit me with the, hey man, you gotta chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you don't want to do that. You don't want to handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad tried to be like, yo, don't do that. You don't want to see what that's like on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, he still try to shield me in his own way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always try to keep your kid out the way. So I'm not with that. I don't think that it's wrong. I think it's a different tactic. I think the bigger thing for me is, where do they learn their grit? Where do they learn their fight? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to deprive them of things that you're able to give them to make them fight. I think that having a business plan, like saying a bartering system, you have money. Yeah, we have money. What are you going to do with the money? I think that's a reasonable request to ask your child.
Mm-hmm. I see both sides. I think there has to be a balance. You brought up a good point just now. They may get their grit in other places, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be like, I'm grinding from the bottom up. Now, if you own something, and I see this in a lot of cultures, the parents are doing well, but their kid still has to grind from the bottom up, meaning, I own this company, but you're starting at minimum wage, and you're gonna work your way up piece by piece. I'm not giving you a vice president title just because, you're my son or my daughter. I'll speak for us, like, we grew up, 2-parent home, single income, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom in this area, right? And God always had us in a position where we weren't needing for like any of the basics. We had a good childhood, man. Like, compared to a lot of I'll say African Americans, because you did mention like, the Black people struggle with the whole group economics thing. It's really African Americans. It's not all Black people, because Africans aren't like that. A lot of Caribbeans aren't like that. It's really African Americans, and that's a whole nother topic. We'll get into Black history if you have time later. But we really got our grit from sports. Like Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest athlete ever. He 2-parent home. Like, his parents had like middle class jobs. They weren't rich, they weren't poor, but if you watch The Last Dance, like if his brother lost, older brother lost, like he had to see him with the hands. Like, he literally said, like, if I lost, I'm fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like, his dad, it was all boys. Actually, he had a sister, but I think it was 4 boys or 3 boys and a girl. All the boys are fighting for the dad's attention. So I agree. Like, I think there's a balance. I think it's a case by case basis. Shaq's kids might be spoiled, and the thing is, I know him and his ex-wife. Obviously, they're not together. So maybe the mom spoils them too much, or they're spoiled, and he's like, y'all gotta earn it this way, because if y'all don't, y'all aren't gonna be prepared for life. Yeah. So I agree, man. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, in Shaq's defense, because heard that quote, but I also heard the other bit. He said pretty much what you're saying about a business plan. He and you guys can fact check me. I'm pretty sure he said, hey, I'm rich, like you said, but, I'm not gonna just leave my kids astray, right? Like, you gotta come to me with a business plan, and I'll give you the money. Cause Shaq, he's a smart businessman.
What?
Like, he's a smart businessman. He's very charitable. He wouldn't just do that to his kids.
And I think he said something about they have to get their, I want to say it was their master's degree. That was like one of the requirements.
Yeah.
They have to get their master's degree. Shaq has his doctorate, and again, that's his thing, right? I don't agree with that because, to me, degrees, they don't really mean. I mean, I'm not gonna say they don't mean anything, but as far as like valuable, a valuable asset that you can leverage depending on the field that you're in. Like, to me, sometimes degrees can be lack of it. But yeah, man. I mean, I wanted to ask that because, again, I know you go on Instagram, right? There's all these black business pages, build generational wealth, and that's really something that we've lacked in the black community because we never had an inheritance.
Yeah. I got a question for Blue though. When do you stop shielding as a parent?
I don't think you ever stop.
Well, yeah, I agree on that, but like, for example, mom's son still lives in the house. He's like 45, right? And he's just lazy. He's not, he's not uplifting
That comes
himself.
out of parenting. Like, you might have to. So I'll reference my dad again, right?
Yeah.
My dad's like this angel. He's this really cool guy, really supportive for that dad, right? So he takes everybody in. Anybody goes on a hard time, like say, you lose your job, you can't stay there. You're like, you know what? My son with you. You come on. You come here. You stay with us till you get on your feet, right? You come to my dad's house. You're there. I need some support. You're gonna look out for you, right? Feed you food, not ask you for no groceries or whatever it may be, but he'll give you about a couple of weeks to adjust. It's like, you've been here for about a month. You ain't put no groceries in the refrigerator. The whole month you've been here. You know what I'm saying? He might mention it. He might not mention it. But he takes mental account of that. You know what I'm saying? Then he starts watching how you going. It's like, everybody in my house, even when they don't live here, all right, daddy, I'm leaving. We going home or whatever. We'll catch you later. Say, all right, we're going to go out for a little bit. We back, we're going to the bowling alley. All right, see you a little bit. We're his kids. We grew up this way. We're used to it. You know what I'm saying? But when you leave, you just leave. You come back, you just come back. Don't say nothing to him, right? He takes note of it. Yeah. He does all these things, take note, and then, eventually he will have this conversation with you. But he'll have this conversation, either have this conversation and tell you about the things he observed, depending on your demeanor, or he might be like, look, I observed this, so this is my new arrangement for you. You know what I'm saying? Where now he's just changing the nature of the arrangement. Mm-hmm. I say that to say that, like, it comes down to parenting, right? My father was very dynamic in how he parented all 6 of us. So we all got, like, different faces, not different punishments, but he spoke our language.
He tailored it to the kid.
He spoke our language. We all have our love language. We all have our way we receive things. So he made the messages that we received. He would tailor, depending on what message he was trying to send you. So, like, I don't think there is an age limit on how long my daughter can stay with me. My daughter can stay with me the rest of her life if that's what it took her to pursue her dream. If she was at my house, 40 years old, still building her business, still working on her designs.
She's got to be working towards something.
Yeah, she's still working. I add no pressure to her. There's enough pressure out there, especially as a young black woman. They're going to give enough pressure to her anyway.